Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
And on tonight's episode of the Brewtiful Game, Liverpool, don't know if you've heard, but they might have just won the Premier League with 4 games out to capture their 20th top flight title, an emphatic 5-1 win over Tottenham. If it was going to happen, I'm glad it happened that way against the Spurs. Then we'll review all the rest of the Premier League action from match week 34 in the semis and the FA Cup in our 2-minute drill. And then we're going to blow the halftime whistle as the bombastic of the As the bombastic of the bouillon and the bronze of the beef, Ron shares with us all the news that's fit to drink and yet another edition of Ron's beer news as he celebrates Chelsea's women winning yet another WSL title. God, you're Ron.
And mourning the loss of their ability to be in Champions League.
Your Ron titles get better and better. And in the second half of the pod, we're going to stay in Europe as we review and discuss the first legs of the semifinal matches in the UEFA Champions League, as well as updated on who will play for the finals in the UEFA's Women's Champions League in this here second edition of the UEFA's LeagueA's Roundup. But first, our beer. I can jump straight on this because I'm returning to a brewery from last week. Part 2, gentlemen.
Part 2.
I'm going back to Lancaster Brewing to do one of their award-winning odd-sounding beers that the head brewer Mark Brownworth developed a while ago, and it is their Fresh Roasted, a peanut butter English-style ale. And This is a quite popular one. We brew fresh roasted peanut butter spiked English-style ale with rich caramel malts, loads of all-natural peanut butter, Fugel's hop for a uniquely special brew that delivers the unmistakable aroma and flavor of fresh roasted peanuts, culminating in a smooth caramel finish. 6.5% alcohol by volume, and the copper color with 19 IBU. Contains peanuts.
That's a good thing they put that warning on there.
Yeah, right? Peanut butter ale, yeah.
I'm excited for this one. It's quite a popular one.
Very nice. I'm doing one that I'm pretty sure we've had on the pod before, but before that, check out my fun pint glass that I got at Soggy Bottom Brewery. Wouldn't you know, we were talking about Soggy Bottoms last week on the pod, and went home to celebrate Ma Dukes' birthday last Saturday. It was her birthday on Friday, but went home and we went out to eat, and right next door to it was a brewery. Mom wanted to have a beer after we ate. So went to the brewery. Really cool freaking brewery. Never knew it was there. We'll definitely go back in Dunedin, Florida. But Soggy Bottom Brewing, very cool pint glass they have with like the state of Florida, but it says it's spelled out SBB and has a tap hanging from it and a hop and a big thing. So quite rude. But I'm gonna have not from them because I couldn't bring back the beer. And have it cool and all that, yada yada yada. But I did stop over at Toll Road Brewing, my local brewery here after the game today. The heck of a 3-3 UEFA Champions League game. I was like, I just need to get out and have a beer. I'm all amped for that. But having a beer that I think we've had on the pod before, that maybe even Tony Smith has had on the pod. Having it kind of in honor of him, I guess. Yes, we did ask if he would be on the pod tonight. He is unfortunately not available. I'll be sharing some words that he did share with me, though, when we get to talking about his Liverpool. But I'm having, from Toll Road Brewing in Ocoee, Florida, Mike's Cream Ale with vanilla and coffee.
That sounds good.
5.4%. It is one of their more popular, well-known beers that they do. Tony absolutely loves this beer as well. My plan was to, if he was going to record tonight, I was going to pick up a 4-pack, drop a few off to him at his house because we don't live that far, and then share it on the pod together. But I might just have to have the 4-pack all myself tonight. But Mike's Cream Ale from Toll Road Brewing, gents.
That's two sweet beers in a row.
Mm-hmm.
This one will certainly not be sweet. In an endeavor to, or the continuing endeavor to clean out ye old beer fridge, I have found in the depths of the back recessed corners of the beer fridge, I found one final Flying Monkeys brewery beer
Nice.
from Flying Monkeys Brewing, a hazy IPA called Little Heathens.
Those heathens.
That's a great name.
That is awesome.
And animated hops add an awful lot of mischief for such a little, light, hazy IPA. 8.1% ABV, so I'm tying one on a school night.
Nice.
Pale malt 2-row, oat malt, Great Western malt. Hops are Sbarro, Strata, and Idaho 7, with the dry hopped being Eldorado, Strata, and HBC 1019. And on the can, they always have some fun things. They say, animated twitchy hops pogo through our plan for juicy refreshment, creating an awful lot of mischief in such a light little hazy. Sneaky sparks of tangerine, pineapple, and candy, along with tropical fruit, burst with inklings of resin and pale radium glows.
Lovely. I love how they
And-
just write things.
Yeah, and then here's the can art, because it wouldn't be a Flying Monkeys beer if it didn't have some wicked, crazy, acid trip style can art. There you go.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, that's rad.
Big old
Like-
teeth that says hazy IPA.
Yeah, and like the eyeball with
Mhm.
the tongue hanging out of it, like it's so funny. So I'm excited to give this one a try.
All right, gents, should we crack into these beers?
Let's do it.
Why not?
I should have brought some chocolate from Easter down to pair with this peanut butter beer. Oh, that smells
That
good.
sounds lovely. All right.
Oh, man.
This beer of theirs was just canned 3 days ago, so this should be nice and fresh. From Toll Road.
This one is like super caramelly, and it's got like, it does. I smell the peanut butter. It's not too crazy. I'm curious what this tastes like.
Out and
Smells
out
like-
hazy IPA. Good lacy head. Great color.
Lacy Head. I dance under that name.
Same. I think, yeah, me and Ron got some good head going. I can't do that with a straight face.
Cheers, gents.
All right.
Cheers.
So,
That shouldn't be good, and it is. That's so weird. God,
you
that's
want like a
good.
cream soda in beer form? Smack my ass and call me Sally. This is it right here, boys. This is fantastic.
This is really good. Like the peanut butter is not. It doesn't taste like eating a spoonful of peanut butter. That would be weird, but it's definitely there and pairs really very well with this like very caramelly ale.
This is probably the most dangerous hazy IPA I've ever had.
Especially at 8.5%.
Yeah, right. That's why it's even more dangerous.
But it does not taste like that at all. It tastes like a session.
Ooh, that is dangerous because normally like a session IPA is slightly better than like just a session in general, but you're still sitting at like 5.8% or 5.4 somewhere in that range.
Yeah,
So that's
this is a
whole 3%
taste-
more.
tastes like a session, but is full-bodied like the real article.
That's like t-shirt.
Came for the session, left with the IPA.
Well, this beer is going to go down very quickly. Shall we move to the Premier League?
Why not?
All right, let's do this. Since about Christmas, it's been pretty much in the cards for Liverpool. But this past Sunday, Liverpool officially confirmed their Premier League title in the most emphatic goal-scoring way with a 5-1 win over Tottenham Hotspurs. In Arne Slot's first season in charge following club legend Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool win their 20th top-flight title and do so 4 games out on 82 points with a 48 goal difference, scoring 80 and only conceding 32 in 34 matches played. And a classy way out as Arne Slot started the Jurgen Klopp chant following the conclusion of that match. To echo Jurgen Klopp starting the Arne Slot chant his last day.
So I will read you, because you said that, and he says it in his text. I will read you the text that I received from Tony. I'll just read it word for word. I said, hey, mate, you busy tonight? He goes, I'm unavailable, unfortunately. I'm assuming you're recording. It's very kind of you to invite me on to gloat. I was like, you want to come by, have a lap? Feel free to have your lap. He goes, for real though, it's a real special time, a really special team, a lot of class players that are also class people who invest in the city they're playing in. Can't ask for more than that. It says a lot about the culture of that organization and the people they bring in, that Arne Slot's only comments when they handed him the mic on the pitch to where, one, gave praise to Jurgen Klopp and start his chant, and two, point out all of the back of house staff and give credit to them for everything they do throughout the year. Proud of the team, proud of the organization, proud of the city of Liverpool. Mo Salah running down the wing. YNWA.
That's enough of that. Okay, moving on to our 2-minute drill.
I love it. Love it.
So I did ask him. I said, damn, okay, yeah, absolutely, man, was going to invite you on for a victory lap. I said, do you want me to read that out, or you want to see if we can get you on towards the end of the season? He said, you can go ahead and read that out. If it works, I can get on at the end of the season. Great. But he said he's going to enjoy in the spirit of my beer of the pod, we'll of course have a Carlsberg, as they're longtime partners of Liverpool Football Club.
Good for you, Tony.
Congrats, Liverpool. Well earned. Let's see what happens next year when it's not a pre-built team for you.
Yeah, but I mean,
but
hey,
it was well deserved.
I'll say this:
they crushed it.
Oh, absolutely.
No one else had any remote semblance of consistency this season to compare. I mean, literally, your closest is Arsenal, and how many points is that back as being the most consistent? Obviously, they came in second, but like. It's 67
points back.
Yeah, 15 points back right now. Liverpool just ridiculously. But hey, thanks for losing that game 4 weeks ago. So the Invincibles live on. We do appreciate that.
No, and Blake, and that's a great point. The consistency for which they played all year, especially at the first half of the year. Yes, to Ron's point, Klopp left them in very, very good shape.
But Klopp also had those players the last couple of years, and
Yeah, and in one of the years he has a bit bad injuries that occurred. Salah wasn't out for any long length of time. Van Dijk wasn't out for any long length of time. They had a sturdy, solid midfield. They really didn't have the injury bug this year like teams have had in the past. And honestly, that's what it kind of takes. You look at the Man City teams of years of past that you don't really remember hearing too much about players being out for a full year, players being out for 6 months, or any of these things for long terms. So while he was handed a pre-made team that had all of the components to win and have done extremely well over the last 4 or 5 years, it still takes him going in, organizing them, keeping the morale up, going from game to game, as well as they did in the Champions League, and winning in the consistency level for which they did. And they certainly did that and are very deserving of this.
And the tactics. He was a great tactician throughout most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Had his mistakes and his slip-ups here and there, but by and large, he had the tactics pretty well set.
And from all accounts, he's going to have pretty much the same team next year. Van Dijk signed. Again, we talked about this on the last pod. Van Dijk signed again. Mo Salah signed again. We're still up in the air on whether or not Trent Alexander-Arnold will be there or not, whether he's off to Madrid. That's a lot of the reports right now. But regardless, he didn't have Trent Alexander-Arnold. He was probably the only one that wasn't in the squad as much as your Salah and the Van Dijks, but they still won games. They still did things. Now, he brings a different element. You saw how he kind of will help the team in some of those moments when they need goals with his free kicks, with his balls in the box, those things. We talked about it on the last pod, that game they beat. I don't remember who it was, but a late goal to get them in this position to win 4 games out. So, it's the wear and tear now of, can they do it in a Man City-esque style of year in and year out on the Champions League side of things, on the FA Cup, on these side of things. This is the only thing that they're going to win this year. This is massive. This is a thing that everybody wants to win, but they've knocked out a Champions League at the hands of PSG, knocked out of the FA Cup at the hands of Plymouth, and knocked out of the Caribou Cup by the hands of Newcastle. So, again, fighting on all 4 of those fronts. Can the consistency level stay up there to where those Man Cities have won the league year in and year out? Time will tell, but he's certainly very nice, and certainly started off his first season with a huge bang there.
He's only the second Premier League manager to win the league his first year.
I thought 2 did it for Chelsea.
I thought
Antonio Conte and Jose, right? I thought Jose did it in his very first year. Way back. His first
I don't think he won the league. I thought he won Champions League his first year. I'll look it up, but I think he's only the second or the third person to win the Premier League on his debut season.
Just wild. And that they did it 4 games out. There's only been one other time where a team has won it 5 games out. I think that was United back in 07-08. But to win it 4 games out is insane.
Oh, I'm way incorrect. I apologize. I'm way incorrect. He is the 5th.
Top 5, baby.
Jose Mourinho, Carlo Ancelotti, Manuel Pellegrini, Antonio Conte, Arne Slot.
There you go. Okay.
That's a good list to be with.
Mm-hmm.
3 of those people were Chelsea.
Yes,
managers.
they were. Yes, they were.
That's so wild to think about.
It's still 5 is an impressive number after the length of time that they have been playing top flight. Maybe not English Premier League as it is named currently, but top soccer. That's still an incredible stat.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit on the last pod too. As we all know, this was kind of going to occur just when, and it happened on Sunday. But they're getting a chance to celebrate with the fans. They're going to do a parade. I think it was announced like May 20-something. I don't know the exact date, but they're going to do a parade in town. Last parade, they didn't get to do one because there was nobody in the streets because of COVID. There was nobody at the stadium when they won. All of these things. They now get to do all of this with the fans and, whatnot. I wouldn't be surprised if for the parade you see Klopp show back up in some way.
I was going to ask, has there been some video or anything of Klopp celebrating or slamming a beer?
I don't know. I haven't seen it if there has been yet, but I would assume with an announcement of a parade date. I mean, that's what you get when you win the league 4 games out. You get to plan ahead a little bit. Doesn't have to be all on the cuff. I would imagine he makes an appearance in some way, but doesn't take away that spotlight from what Slot has done this year and how he's gone about it. I think it'd be more of just a big party, as they'll get to celebrate with all of the Liverpoolians now.
Can we also just talk about, before we move off, the best prank pulled by a rival team in the victory? Did you guys hear about all this?
I don't think I did.
So a Everton fan bought 4,000 blue smoke bombs and repackaged them all painstakingly with red labels. Then sold them outside of the stadium so that when Liverpool won and they all lit up,
that's cheeky.
A bunch of them were blue. And so you you can go online and look at the pictures, and you can see people's videos on Instagram of red and blue smoke being shot during the win.
God, that's
And
beautiful.
That is pretty funny.
It's a brilliant troll of Liverpool.
I can only imagine that your pop is saying, "Oh, shoot, crap," to try to hide it and throw it somewhere else.
Well, there's videos of people like dunking them in beer. There's people throwing it on the floor, trying to stamp it out. There's, people like throwing it outside the state. It's hilarious.
Yeah, and if you've never like lit a smoke bomb, or you like carried a smoke that they take to those games, that's a ton of smoke that comes out of those things, and it gets. Ron, correct me wrong. You have to like ignite it to open it up, and then the smoke starts to flow, or something to that extent.
Yeah. And so if you
beautiful.
type into Google Liverpool blue smoke pictures, you will find. I wish I could share my screen. Oh, maybe I can.
See, we have to record this pod on we put it on YouTube or something, so we can all see these things, and you guys
look at this.
Watch these things with us.
Do you see it? Do you see my screen?
Oh, that's hysterical.
All these blue smoke charges everywhere.
Random in there.
I mean, it's kind of brilliant.
That's fine. I thought you were gonna say, because I saw this somewhere online where Liverpool fans were like out in the street and they're all partying, they're cracking beers, and they're all these things. And one guy has a water bottle that has tape over it, and it says Arsenal's tears. He's drinking it all like we have to. Oh, this is the sacred water.
That's pretty good. The blue smoke is just brilliant.
Oh man. And they're like just cheeky, right? They're not hurting anybody, nobody being harmed. You're not trying to start a fight. It's just plain cheeky.
They gotta love it.
Apologies. I was trying to readjust when you shared your screen. It took over my whole screen, and then everything was blown up on the face. I'm like trying to get back to the content. I was going to tell you that yes, Jurgen Klopp, by the way, had said he will be. His plan is to be at the Crystal Palace match when they're crowned champions. That's his plan.
He was. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that he's very excited. See, that Arsenal tears one's funny. I mean, only because I just don't associate that kind of thing with Liverpool. You know what I mean? It's more of like a Chelsea or Tottenham, or even like Man United. Because you would have had to drink those tears a real long time ago. That's late. That's this has been so decided. But
congrats,
Liverpool. Well done.
Do we want to? I mean, we're not going to share all of our predictions, but do we want to share what we predicted on who would win the title, since it's already been announced?
Well, I think we should save it for our final.
Yeah, save it for the end.
Yeah, save it for the end.
Well, good, because I don't remember where I put it anyway. So
I'm glad you threw it out.
There's a shock.
Wait, did I find
hey guys, do you want to do this?
No,
I don't know where any of it is, but do you want to do this?
No, crap.
You should just always put it in the Google Drive that we have.
Yeah,
together.
no, I did, and I'm looking at it right now, and the whole thing's blank. So
you can go back and listen to an episode.
I don't know if I might have to do a little bit of research.
That's
Let me see
amazing.
if I just put it on my own Gmail account.
I'm pretty sure I picked Liverpool and Salah to have a golden boot. So
I'm sure you did. Wait, hold on.
Whoever gets the most points wins something, right?
Okay, I found it.
That's hysterical. Yeah, we'll save that though. Save that for our wrap up pod, our anniversary wrap up pod.
Okay.
Jen, shall I move us over to the 2-minute drill? All right. Congrats, Liverpool. let's get over here to our 2-minute drill. Now for the rest of Premier League action as for match week 34 and the semifinals of the FA Cup, as we ask one question and or make maybe a smart-ass comment about the remaining matches in our 2-minute drill. Take it away, Ron. You're on the clock.
That's not what F stands for.
Ron, you're on the clock, and I think you're also muted.
No, Blake, that's not what F stands for.
I mean, Ferris, you're on the clock. Ferris, you're on the clock. I'll restart the time. I'm just staring at Ron like, hey, dude, I'm mute.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, that's not what F stands for.
I'll tell you what F stands for.
I mean, somebody had to do it.
Yep. Brighton roared back late as goals in the 89th and 92nd minute of play completed the comeback for the Seagulls as they beat West Ham 3-2. I bet you Graham Potter and West Ham are counting their stars that there are 3 worse teams of them because they are down there in 17th place, but they're not going down because the 3 teams have been confirmed going down. But
how many seasons
Brighton are just that team that would just pop up on you.
But dude, how many seasons have we said this about West Ham? God, they're really lucky. The bottom 3 are who the bottom 3 are.
Yep.
Like,
well, and why get rid of David Moyes? Because they weren't this this low or this in fear of going down when Moyes was there. They weren't great.
Yeah, they won a trophy with Moyes. Well, also it should be noted that there was a couple of specifically large injuries to most of the attacking front on West Ham. Most notably, Mikel Antonio was out for quite a bit of the season. So they didn't have a very large attacking force with the injuries. So again, they probably would have played a little better had they not had those injuries. But I also agree, every season.
Yeah.
I think West Ham is becoming our new Southampton.
I was gonna say it's around Southampton where every year he predicted them to go down.
I don't think they're gonna. Yeah, I don't think they're as bad, but yeah, they've been rough.
But they've
been rough.
But they easily,
and you can't blame Graham Potter. He's only had them for a very short amount of time, and he's gonna have hopefully they have a good summer transfer window where they can shore up the defense, shore up the midfield, and then unleash the likes of Mikel Antonio and, a few others who really need to gel in order to pick West Ham up out of the basement.
And they'll have their new manager, Ange Postecoglou from Australia. He'll be their manager. That's
Are you having problems saying Postecoglou?
Yeah,
Postecoglou. I could say that.
Pasta la vista, baby. That's what's going to be said very soon.
That was so bad.
That's what I should have said for the comment. We didn't talk about Spurs at all, by the way, in that match with Liverpool.
There's no need.
There is
zero need to.
Other than
sorry, I didn't realize the Spurs were actually in the stadium at the time.
Oh
yeah,
just look. He could win the Europa League. That would be. I mean, on one hand, I don't want him to get the trophy. On the other hand, if it'll keep him around, this Arsenal fan says go right ahead. Good grief.
I mean, like we said the last pod, I really don't think it's much more about the front office than it is the coach.
Yeah, that's why he's going to be gone, though, is what I'm saying. Like, that's how they operate. That's what they do. All right, Blake, take it away. All right, Newcastle hang on to 3rd place in the league, but unfortunately seal Ipswich's fate behind a 3-0 win over the Tractor Boys. Ipswich becomes the 3rd relegated team, marking the 2nd time in the Premier League history where all 3 promoted clubs succumb to relegation back down to the championship. Man, how many times you said? 2nd time. That's wild. That's only happened twice. You feel like that's something that would have happened before. Kind of hate to see Ipswich go. They were certainly darlings at the beginning of the season.
And they had some key games.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't string it all together, and they couldn't keep momentum. And it's very evident that they were the little engine that couldn't.
Yep. Get the tractor out of the field and go hang out in the forest. That's what you got to do. It's
That's about it.
yeah. I mean, and then Newcastle. I mean, again, speaking of consistency, right? I mean, everybody below Liverpool. That's pretty much the story of the season. Even for those that were doing better than the rest, still consistency is still the thing. That's still the thing.
Chelsea remain in the Champions League places, which is 5th, by the way. That's where they are. As Nicholas Jackson gets back on the score sheet after quite a lengthy goal drought in the 27th minute as the Blues take down the Blues of Merseyside 1-0. The real question here is, can the Blues of Chelsea hang on to Champions League place? And I don't know, they might be able to do it by their fingertips, but it won't be comfortable and it won't be easy.
I just need them to move up and let Forest knock out City. That's the dream for the end of this season that I need to happen. I mean, you just have Liverpool next. Easy. They'll be relaxed and right.
Yeah, I think Chelsea will hang on to a place, whether that's 5th or 4th. But I think that they'll hang on and they'll get there in the end. I think they have too strong of a team not to.
We have. Have you seen our schedule though?
I have not.
Okay. Let me read this.
Well, we went last time we went over Forest, and we said they actually have a very winnable schedule. Forest on the way out.
I think Chelsea has the hardest schedule of all the teams in the Premier League in the last couple games.
I love that Ron's got that, like, starts talking about Chelsea in the schedule, and then the ambulance noise cuts on in the background.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's Ron still
'cause
sequestered to his outdoor studio while family is visiting.
Our season is on life support here. So, our next game, Sunday, May 4th, Liverpool.
They're gonna play. They're gonna play Mary Curly Low and like they're not gonna play anybody.
But that doesn't mean we're gonna beat them.
That's fair.
Then on Sunday, May 11th, we play Newcastle, who is surely gonna come at us both barrels. Yes. Then on May 16th, we're coming up against Manchester United. Now,
mark that as 3 points.
Say what you will about Manchester United this season, but Chelsea have yet to record a victory over Manchester United.
Yeah, this is true.
In the past 3 seasons.
We're also in 15th place and we only care about Europa League games. But
we lost to Warsaw.
I know.
Then I have Nottingham Forest on the last day of the Premier League.
That's going to be a big game.
We do not have a very easy schedule coming out. And that is why I say it is doubtful that we will hang on to a Champions League spot. And if we do, it'll be by our fingernails. It's not an easy schedule, so.
Over to you, Ferris.
Fulham pull it out in the second half and late against bottom of the table Southampton as Emmanuel Smith-Rowe and Ryan Sessegnon not only win 2-1 on the South Coast, but also helped to win Ferris's 3-leg parlay on the day. I was looking in rough shape until that game. Besides the parlay that I won, there isn't much to talk about here at Southampton. They're Southampton. They're already down, and Fulham are probably 6 to 9 points out of a European competition. I say 6 to 9. Like I don't know if that 6th place is Europa League, 7th is Europa Conference League. I don't quite know all of that yet, or how that's going to play out. Plus, there's others in the tournaments that could kind of throw those things into loops. There's a lot of scenarios that could still play out, but Fulham get the win as they always should have against Southampton and keep a very good season going.
I mean, I don't know what there is to say on this. Southampton is sort of that's been their story. Fulham's is quiet. They kind of disappeared this season. like I'm not going to say inconsistent. They were kind of consistently just there. Is this like the bright?
Very much so.
Like
very much so.
New Albion, what was the club that was 10th place forever and a day for a long time?
West Ham?
No, well, West Brom. West Brom. That's what I was thinking of.
West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, who sat there forever. So, yeah. That's all there is about that. The Wolves, who just can't stop scoring and winning, as they win again. This time beating Leicester City 3-0, because if things weren't bad enough, let's just lose another one. 6 wins in the league for Wolves. What a turnaround Vitor Pereira has, or what a turnaround Vitor Pereira has had with the Wolves. Can they can roll with this into next season? They play Man City next. Come on, Wolves.
I think they can. They've
played really well.
They've got a bunch of great momentum. The style change that Wolves are playing right now really seem to suit the type of players. They're having a good time. They're communicating. There's a lot good going on well for Wolves right now. Maybe a good summer transfer window will help them get a little higher in the table next year.
Yeah, I mean, just 6 wins in a row in the league is hard enough to do, and for Wolves to do it against, not terrible team, and this one bad team, but they those 6 wins help to really clear them, and they're not even in 17th place.
Do you guys remember when 40 was the magical number to stay safe from relegation? And it's been a few years of some really crap teams down at the bottom, so that's no longer a big deal. Like to get that magic,
and it was looking like Wolves was going to go down, and now they're up to 13th place. So what? Like those 6 wins alone, add that up.
Yeah,
that's 18 points on the bounce there. That's massive swings,
especially at this time in the season.
Absolutely
right.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Well, speaking of this time of the season, let's get to the next one.
Rasmus Højlund scored in but I said that way too casually, because that doesn't happen. We don't even know if he even plays half the time. But he did score. Rasmus Højlund did score a hockey style type goal, kind of a bing ball bounce in the 96th minute of 98th, as they were able to squeak by in a 1-1 draw against 10-man Bournemouth. Really not much to say here.
Who would have thought that?
Yeah, right.
Right?
Believe me, I had a soccer game that day at 11, so I watched it and listened to it all the way up to the 95th, 94th. Got out of the car. A friend asked me, I'm pretty sure United lost. Got back in, I was like, oh, 1-1. They drew. I'll be damned. Go figure. Scoring late into extra time. I should have guessed. That's all United can do this season. But the only thing that it may have done is Bournemouth might have stifled their hope to play in Europe next season. They're still a pretty good ways off, but I guess that's still a possibility for them. And then tomorrow, all United have is the Europa League semifinal first leg against Athletic Club, which is a big one because that's definitely the harder side of the teams they could have played. And Athletic Club has a chance to play at their home stadium for the finals of the Europa League, as that's where it's going to be held for them. So, big game tomorrow. We'll see if United can actually do anything in the first leg.
Ferris didn't even take up his whole 2 minutes for Man United.
They're not deserving of it.
That's just, man, that's brutal.
Well, we usually, if I take up extra, it's because they've gone into extra time. So I'll take up extra time when they go into extra time. This was an extra time game, yes, but not really warranted because there's not really anything to play for right now in the league for them.
Fair enough. Okay. All right, this moves to our FA Cup semifinal matches for the last of our 2-minute drill. Mr. Keller, take it away. Oops, Ron. Now I do get to say you're muted, and it was accurate. There you go.
What are you talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know what you mean. Crystal Palace absolutely knock Villa's in the dirt.
I love
as
that phrase.
Our Glasner's Eagles move on to the FA Cup Finals with a outstanding 3-0 win over the high-flying Villains in the semis of the FA Cup. Gentlemen, I defy anyone to say they saw that coming.
No, man. But, Villa's had a bit of a wobble here, right? Like the worst time for them.
Well, they've been inconsistent. Remember, didn't they just beat Newcastle?
They lost to Forest. Oh, where are we at? Who's
They've won 4 of their last 5.
Right.
Yeah.
They lost to City. That was the only one they lost to. Yeah.
Right, but before that,
they beat Newcastle 4-1. Yeah.
So they've just been inconsistent. They got knocked out of Champions League by PSG before that. So they just haven't quite, just weird. They're kind of not falling off, but just puttering across the line here towards the end of the season.
And the reason I think this was such a shock to the system is because Unai Emery is usually got his tactics buttoned up, but man, they could not hold on to the amount of Palace overload, and runners in space behind. It was.
Yeah, no, you're right, and sorry there, Ron, but just on the complete contrast, Palace towards the end of the season, this year and last season, have been complete opposites. They've been fantastic, and Sarr continually got behind them. Eze got behind them. All of these players, to your point, just absolutely just ran right through them.
I was absolutely shocked by that, to be honest.
And they even had a missed pen. Could have been 4-0.
I was at the pub in Lidditz Bull's Head, and I met this awesome chap named Graham who grew up 5 minutes from Crystal Palace. He had season tickets, and they walked to the stadium.
Is his last name Potter?
It was not Potter. Cool dude, and he used to live in Florida. Guys, so he moved 20 years ago from the UK. He's just turned 42. And he told me that, and I was like, oh, I just had my birthday too, and we were chatting, and so he goes, yeah, I used to live in Florida before I came up here. I was like, oh man, we were here then down in Florida, and he goes, this place we're at, he goes, great place here, I love it. Don't get the fish and chips, they burn it. Hard to find good fish and chips. I said, yeah. I said, there was a place in Florida. He goes, Proper Pie Company. Where did you live in Florida? I was like, yeah. He goes, those are his friends. The Tottenham family.
That's awesome.
The Tottenham supporter family there in Champions Gate who ran the freaking Proper Pie Company. I couldn't believe that. Anyway.
It's a small world.
Right. But he was talking about Palace, and just how he was like, man, his comment was, wow, your defense is playing like you did against Palace. we were watching the Champions League semifinal. But he was just obviously he was blown away by that. He was like, man, if we can do that. I was like, look, dude, I mean, I'm a Palace fan going into this final. I would love to see you take this.
Absolutely.
And he was glad that Forest wasn't in it. He said, because Forest plays, this was his take. Forest plays similar. He said, they play on the counter, and that's what Palace does here. So I'm actually kind of excited to play Man City, because I think our style could do well with how they've been this season. So I hope Graham's right.
And Palace as one of the few grounds and games that I've seen in the UK, just awesome stadium, good vibe, good environment, awesome folks.
I brought you up.
A lot of fun to go to those games.
My buddy went to match and said it was such an awesome atmosphere there.
Yeah, very, very fun.
Speaking of Man City, remember them? They could still win a trophy this season as they move to their second FA Cup finals in a row with a 2-0 win over Nottingham Forest. I think we all wanted to see Palace versus Forest in the final, but young Rico Lewis had other plans. So now it will be Crystal Palace taking on Manchester City in the Emirates FA Cup final to be played on Saturday, May 17th. We can take this off of Mr. Graham that I met suggestion. Does their counterattacking sort of style play suit themselves well to this year's Man City?
I think it does. But I think they're going to have to weather the storm as a tight, compact unit if there's one thing Palace is not used to doing is staying in shape. And so I think if they can't maintain their shape defensively, City's going to pick them apart. And it'll be hard for them to counter.
What are the odds, Ferris? What's the FA Cup final odds right now? You're always our man that knows that stuff.
Do you want to know what the odds are right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's play a game. What do you think the odds are?
You don't want to play a game. I'm gonna guess Man City edges it out, but I don't think it's by a huge amount between the two.
It's like 2-5 on Man City. You know they do their bets a little bit differently over there, but right now if you would go on like a DraftKings or something like that, Palace is a plus 390 to win, so obviously a clear underdog, where Man City's a minus 160, clearly the favorite. So you're going to probably get that pretty even across most sports books here in the States. I'm going to probably put a bet on Palace. You're getting some good odds. Only problem is the City's not going to be drunk from winning the Premier League like they were against Man United last year. So, there's that, and this is their only trophy that they might actually win. So, but clearly City are going to be, and they rightly should be, but we'll see. When's the last time Palace has even been to Wembley? Up until the semifinal. Was it several years back when what's his name? Pardew. When Pardew did the dance on the sideline, you remember he did that little shuffle dance in his suit. It's something Pardew. I can't remember his name.
May 21st, 2016.
And who was the manager of Palace? Something Pardew.
I'm checking.
What the hell's his name?
They played in the final against Manchester United and lost.
Yeah, okay, but he did that dance. Oh, shoot! Sorry, Blake.
Hold on.
You don't apologize to me.
I can't. It's Pardew. I just can't. Is it Grandpa? I just want to say Grandpa.
Isn't it Alan?
Alan Pardew?
Alan Pardew. Let's see how close I am.
It is
Alan Pardew.
Yes, you're correct. Alan Pardew, yes, when he did that dance on there.
Who did he replace for 3 points?
Oh, at the time,
David Moyes,
Roy Hodgson.
Sorry. Who replaced Alan Pardew?
Roy Hodgson. I'll stick with the same
again.
Answer.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably.
He either replaced him or he didn't. I don't know.
I would say both too, because that guy's been back and forth so often.
Yeah.
No, sorry. His Holiness.
Big Sam?
Big Sam Allardyce.
Nice kidding. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. We're still voting for Big Sam as the next Pope. We'll see if it happens.
I love it. I can't wait. If he becomes the Pope, which I know obviously he is not, right? He's not even in the orbit of being Pope. But man, it would be so cool to go visit him and call him His Eminence.
His big eminence.
I would love it. Kiss the ring. Oh,
it's shaped like a pie.
I'd be Catholic for about 10 seconds to do that.
Well, I think that gets us to halftime on the pontiff of the pies, Big Sam Allardyce. And now it brings us over to Ron's Beer News, all the news that's fit to drink.
Hello. I just lost all of the reporting.
I was like, so that's not me this time, Ron.
I like that is for sure. That Ron's Beer News does stand for Ron.
Blake, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
And in the edit, play some elevator music right now. Because I have to.
I got one for you.
Find my.
That's what you get.
You know what yesterday was? Or I'm sorry, today was?
What's that?
The last day of April.
No, it was.
Well, no, that's technically true though.
the 2025 Craft Brewers Conference and Brew Expo America, held in Indianapolis, convened over 10,000 industry professionals to address the current challenges and future direction of the U.S. craft beer market. The Brewers Association highlighted several key statistics and trends during the event. The industry performance and economic impact is always the nail-biting favorite because everyone wants to know what happened over the year. And gentlemen, the craft brewing industry contributed approximately $77.1 billion with a B to the U.S. economy in 2024, which is pretty awesome. The industry supported 460,000 jobs nationwide, underscoring its role in local economies. Unfortunately, the amount of brewery openings versus the amount of brewery closures, that wasn't so good. Gentlemen, how many breweries do you think, new breweries, opened in 2024?
For America, obviously, just for America.
In the U.S.
120.
Ferris?
349.
Ferris, close to the pin. 335 new brewery openings. Man. So now,
I was going to say 39. Damn it. Well.
How many breweries closed in 2024?
300.
Blake.
398.
I'm going to double the number. 673.
Ooh, geez. Ferris swinging for the fence and missing completely.
Oh,
Blake, one away.
Oh, wow.
399 closures, making the first.
Some applause for that.
I don't want to applaud that. That's bad news.
That's bad news.
No, I know, but you got one away.
That makes the first time since 2005 that closures outpaced openings. Some other key things that were talked about in the conference: supply chain and marketing challenges. Supply chain and market challenges. Supply chain issues, ongoing challenges. Of course, the rising costs for ingredients and packaging materials, which are definitely exacerbated by tariffs on imported goods such as aluminum. Because as we covered in recent podcasts, most of the aluminum that the U.S. gets comes from Canada and China. Also, consumer trends. In the market, there was a noted shift in consumer preferences, with younger generations drinking less alcohol, leading to a decreased demand for the traditional craft beer offerings. However, that did culminate in the rise of NA beers. So a lot of people enjoying the non-alcoholic offerings from companies as notable as Athletic Brewing Company, who all of their beers are NA.
And they've been everywhere.
Oh my God, they are completely everywhere. There's also a nice long chat on the industry adaptation strategies. So covering diversification, breweries are expanding their portfolios to, like I said, non-alcoholic beers, spirits, different food offerings to try and bring in more customers. They're also doing a lot more diverse customer experiences, with an emphasis on handling customer experience through like family-friendly environments. There are breweries that are doing dog promotions.
Did you see the one that's like going the best is like the ones that add playgrounds? It was about breweries in Texas. Yeah.
Yep.
That
was going to be my next thing. Different dining options, unique events, and making it a family-friendly environment.
I mean, I won't lie. I met some friends down in Orlando at a joint that had like a playground and like big old board games outside, so that like, because they had kids and we had our daughters, like, oh, this is great. Let's go over here. And like, and they just started playing. We just hung out in BS, drank beers. Like, man, more places. And I think we said like, I would want to open one of these with a full playground.
Yeah,
like, just go nuts, have fun.
Yep. And then the aside from the keynote, the owners of Trillium Brewing, which we've had two or three beers of theirs on the podcast, led a discussion panel called "Perhaps You're Not Doing It Wrong," which I think is great because any business owner who is trying to go through, the painstaking insanity of running a business in this country knows that you constantly question yourself, and you're constantly, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? Am I doing this right? And so the owners of Trillium gave a really, really good talk about having confidence in yourself and confidence in your decisions and seeking outside advice, all through telling of their story, right? So it wasn't an advice discussion. It was just like, this is how we did it, and these are the decisions we made and how we made them. And it was kind of an empowering talk. It made me want to go open a brewery like tomorrow.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was quite a good. So the Craft Brewers Conference for 2025 in the books. A lot of really great information. You can go to thebrewersassociation.org and you can look up all of the information they had. You can watch some keynote speakers and some of the other break-off events. I listened to it live. I signed in and listened. It was quite good. And if you get a chance, you should really try and learn from the Brewers Association. They've got a lot of really great stuff to talk about and insights. So if you want to invest in the brewing industry, you want to open a brewery, you want to do all this other crazy stuff, just be a part of the brewing industry as a whole, they are a great resource. The plane flies directly over my house.
It's like we're trying to film a Western over here. The plane keeps flying over.
Right.
And that
is all the beer that's fit to read.
And that gets us out.
That's not it.
I know. I messed up the tagline.
All the news that's fit to drink
that's
on Ron's Beer News. That's my point. And gets us out of halftime to get us on over to the La Liga's Roundup. Or I should say the UEFA Liga's Roundup.
Thank you, Blake. Up first, leg one of the Champions League, which I'm sure everybody has been watching this week as we record here on Wednesday night, April 30th, National Brewers Conference Day, as Ron said. Yesterday, though, Arsenal 0, PSG 1. Gents, multiple things we got to talk about here. PSG scoring early, but before that, a tifo.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
So I guess I was missing because it just was their crest. It was just the cannon.
It wasn't even the crest. It was just the cannon.
But that's what's on their. But that's what's on their kit now.
It's because I think here's the thing.
Which I just didn't. I saw it and was like, I didn't think anything of it, and then I was surprised when there's such a reaction.
No, it's because you're playing in one of the biggest matches that you guys have played in years, right? You haven't been to the semifinals. I think the stat was like 16 years, something like that. England doesn't really do a whole lot of tifos. The stadiums aren't all the stadiums aren't necessarily set up to do it. So like United's one last week against Lyon was these like 4 trophies, and it was all out. Now, yes, the club paid for it to get done, right? It's not like here where in the MLS the supporter groups will pay for it, run their idea by the club, but they're the ones that paint it, design it, do it. They work with the club to the club actually enforces these. Yes.
Well, the article
the club actually approves what to put up, and they actually pay for it to for the fans to do it or for the tifo. This looked like they took a huge sheet from the team store, decided to rig it up, and then just hang it up there. And like the pictures that are shown, like half the side's kind of like down a little bit, so it's kind of droopy. And my God, Instagram, social media is great for a lot of things and terrible for others, but in these type instances, social media is great.
Yeah,
so
but
the things the jokes that people were saying and the memes and oh man, they're great.
I like the BBC article, just literally Arsenal tifo criticism. Are British clubs just behind Europe and really bad at tifos? Which
by and large, I think that's probably pretty true.
Yeah, well, and you said it, Ferris. The club picked the thing and they paid for it. And as soon as you do that, the tifo becomes corporate and it's like all the worst.
Yeah.
You know, there was that cool one.
Didn't the supporter group pitch a bunch of ideas and the club turned them down?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. There was that
That's
cool
what
one.
makes this even worse.
Well, there was a cool one at Palace for that young kid that like did the team with the young kid. But see, Palace is known for having this like fun atmosphere and it's a little more loosey goosey, right? You know, they had cheerleaders and eagles flying in and stuff. And so, yeah, I think as soon as you have the clubs signing off on it, it's kind of corporate, right? And it's sanitized, which this is what it looks like. It's just it's just the cannon that's on the jersey or on the kit, but that's also just all it is. So what's the point? Yeah.
If you go to the Men in Blue Lasers Instagram, they share these tweets that what people said. So this person, Fox Seabirds, I was expected a very beautiful tifo from Arsenal, only to discover this. It looks like FIFA career mode.
Oh yeah, when it just has the stuff.
Golding. Arsenal supporters wanted to do their own tifo. The club said no. Then they pulled out their own droopy cannon from the printers. And the last one, Maddie Arsenal FC. The creative process for our tifo. Designer 1 opens Canva. Designer 2, search for the cannon in the graphics section. Designer 1, say no more.
Well, they said the prior match. This was actually Wayne Rooney talking. The prior match with Real Madrid, where they had like the red and white stuff above the fans. They were holding them up and doing all the stuff. Like it is weird that like the atmosphere was so good with Real Madrid and not here. And to be honest, I spoke to the whole game. PSG wasn't that great. Arsenal just wasn't that good. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I disagree with you on that.
Really? I mean, I think Dembele had a good goal, but
PSG were good. They bossed the game. Their midfield was better. It could have been, probably should have been 2-0 before half. At one point, bar off the crossbar late. Arsenal had their chances, and I think this game could have been kind of what we saw today in this like shootout of goals. I actually put a bet in for the correct score to be 4-2 because I thought it was going to be a shootout of goals. But PSG were good, and right now they're the favorites to win the entire thing.
The midfield was a wreck, but that's also Partey going and getting a really stupid yellow to get suspended after they were winning against Spain in 4-1 aggregate, or against Real Madrid in a 4-1 aggregate. Partey got a really dumb yellow that found him suspended for this, and it mucked up the midfield. I'm not, it can't all come on to one person, but like dumb. That was just a dumb yellow he went and got. And
they give them. I mean, I think they're lucky that it wasn't 2 or 3-0. That would have made it much harder as they go to the Parc des Princes next week. I think they give themselves a shot now, only down 1-0. Remember, there is no more away goals rule.
Right.
So if Arsenal score 1 and PSG score 0, we're going into extra time. If it's 1-1 at Parc des Princes, then PSG goes through 2-1. They are just goals. So that helps in this scenario, and that Arsenal are only down 1-0 helps in this scenario. But I think it's going to be very, very tough for PSG to lose not only this game, but lose the entire thing. I think they are the best suited and have the best pound for pound in position wise of the players they have out there, and I think that they have a very, very good shot to win the whole thing. And in today's game,
crazy
instant classic.
what a match.
3-3 Barcelona and Inter. Let me walk you through how this one even played out. In the opening minute, the fastest goal in knockout stages. And back because he hasn't been in the I end up in a bit, but Marcus Thuram with a lovely goal, a little bit of a cheeky back heel in the opening 30 seconds. Dumfries played that ball into him. Dumfries then scored in the 21st minute of play with a lovely volley kick off of a corner.
Gorgeous.
To make it 2-0. And then the youngster, 17 years old, Lamine Yamal, who's already played over 100 games, with a absolutely worldy off his left peg that just off the post and in. And then Ferran Torres tied it up in the 38th, and we went into half 2-2. In the second half, it went about how the first half went. In the 64th, Dumfries again off of a set-piece corner to make it 3-2. And then just a minute later, they have it down as a Jan Sommer own goal. I understand it. I think it's harsh because it was a hell of a strike by, was it Rafinha, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
Who absolutely crushed it. And 3-3 is how it ended. And I think, I was on our
from outside
blue
the arc.
sky. Yeah.
He just rocketed that ball.
Crushed it.
And it also did the reason they're calling it an own goal is because it bounced off the underside of the crossbar, hit the back of the goalkeeper, and then went in. So
it wasn't actually a shot on goal to start.
But God, that was pretty.
It was a heck of a game. 3-3. I think we're all excited for leg 2. That leg 2 will be next Tuesday, and Arsenal's game will be next Wednesday.
Yep.
So they play a week from today. And then,
so who do we think's gonna do it between Barca and Inter?
I mean, that's a coin toss right now, man. I don't know. Like,
I'm gonna say Inter.
That's where I'm leaning.
Because they're going to be playing in Milan. Up until this, they had not conceded a goal in like 6 games in Europe. However, a big part, if I'm not mistaken, no Robert Lewandowski in this game.
True.
That could play huge if he is fit and able to play in leg 2. So I could see another 3-3 game. I could also see a 1-1. But I think you might see this one go to extra time in the second leg.
Oh, it should be exciting.
Absolutely.
I hope it's not a 0-0 draw at the end of extra time, right? Like, we go to penalties.
Yeah.
But, just a barn burner of a match on this one. They just kept scoring.
So much fun.
And it was a very end-to-end game. There wasn't like this midfield chess game that then spurred on chances. It was just end to end the whole time.
Yeah, and I would even say in the second half, Barca were the better team, and some good saves by Jan Sommer there. Yes, I know he gets credited for the own goal, but some very good saves other than that in the game. And it was just a fun run, as you said, a fun match. He made 7 saves in this game. So Barca were putting shots on goal. And Inter and Jan Sommer just staying true. So yeah, absolutely should be a very, very fun game come Tuesday.
And it should be noted that while Sommer is credited with the own goal, he was in midair at the time the ball struck him, right? So he's at a full trying to save that ball that gets past him and hits the crossbar. He is in full stretch and he is in midair when that ball hits him.
Yeah, and he got beat by the shot, right?
Easily.
He got beat by it, which is why he was diving, and that had that ball been an inch lower, would have gone just top bins in the back of the net. But it's only that it bounced off the bottom side of the bar, then hit him, is why it went in. But yeah, just wild. And you had a little bit of this in the UEFA the Women's Champions League, which was played on Saturday and Sunday this past week. But Arsenal will take on Barcelona in Lisbon on Saturday, May 24th in the Women's Champions League. And how they got there, I think all credit to the Arsenal side, who have not had the best of seasons with their head coaches, and have had kind of a rocky year. I think they're like third now, or fourth in the WSL, but they overcame a 2-1 first leg deficit at the Emirates. So they lost at the Emirates 2-1, but then won emphatically 4-1 in the second leg away at Lyon Stadium and won the draw 5-3 on aggregate. Wild how that second game went, and Lyon's a powerhouse. They are a powerhouse in women's soccer, and they put a lot of shots on net. They played well, but Arsenal just blitzed them and took their opportunities in full force, and scored 4 times off of 6 shots on goal. So very deserving to go through there.
Arsenal was just clinical and ruthless in their chances.
And then, unfortunately, in the other tie, it was just all Barcelona as each game they won by the score of 4-1, making it an 8-2 aggregate over Chelsea. Barca are good.
Oh my God,
Barca are real good. And that was like, yeah, Chelsea maybe, you're down 4-1 going into the second leg, but maybe they have a shot. No, it was they were down 5-1 in the tie rather quickly. Then they're down 6-1, and then Chelsea finally get on the scoreboard and to make it 6-2, and then Barcelona was like, no more with you, just 2 more, one in the 82nd and one in the 90th.
We were really missing Sam Kerr due to injury, who's been out for a bit
all season.
Yeah, and we've been missing Lauren James. Sorry, thank you.
I was
Lauren
just saying,
James.
We have a friend named Lauren Jones. I was like, wait, that's not right. Yeah,
Lauren James.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Lauren
I got
James.
what you meant.
In that, because Lauren James is that player who takes the game on her shoulders and by the scruff of the neck and bosses that. There was none of that from Chelsea in either of the fixtures. And so Barcelona do we think they're probably the best women's club team ever? I can't name a better one.
I don't know about ever, but they are darn good, and I think they're going to win this tournament.
Agreed, but I can't name a better women's team.
I mean, Chelsea just was so good for I know
we
what you're saying,
but we were only good at winning FA Cups and the league titles. We have not won Champions League yet. That's why we brought in Sonia Bonpastor, because of all of the titles she's won in UEFA Champions League from France. And so we pilfered Barcelona's midfield and brought them to Chelsea in the off season as a way to get ourselves into Champions League and finish it. And it looked like we were going to do it, but God, Barcelona were good.
Yeah, absolutely were. So that one's May 24th. The second legs of the men's semifinal will be next week. I do not have those dates up, but next Tuesday and Wednesday. And then that final is, I would assume, sometime in May as well, as I kind of quickly look for that real quick. May 31st, so the next week. So all of we haven't mentioned Europa League or Europa Conference League. Those are still to go with their semifinals to kick off tomorrow, Friday, May 1st. And that has been your UEFA LeagueA's Roundup.
There it goes. Man, it's all coming to an end again. If I'd hit that time, we go, all right,
season down.
We're watching MLS, I guess, for a little bit here and trying to squeak through the season.
MLS
No.
WSL.
We WSL, but we've also got
the Club
World Cup.
Yeah. Club World Cup. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting about that one.
Where somehow Inter Miami made it in.
We have games here. No interest in going.
I know, right?
If I get maybe a free one, somebody's like, "Hey, I got these like free seats. You want to go
for the Club World Cup?" You don't want to see Inter Miami play whomever.
Yeah, right. Only because I think, like, Ron, we live 10 minutes from,
Yeah.
We got to do is just hop on 408. You're on the other side of it. I'm on the other side of it. We get there in like 10 minutes. But I'm not putting any money into that.
It's such a
so.
We're not going to do a Super League. We promise. Hey, we got this expansion we want to do.
Right.
The hilarious thing about all this is the Club World Cup tickets are like ridiculous money, right? And the ticket sales are 87% lower or slower than FIFA was expecting. So FIFA decided we're going to lower our ticket prices for some of the matches, including the opening game between Inter Miami and Al Hilal. And those tickets have gone down as much as $385 to $595.
They grossly overestimated.
All right, so I'm on Ticketmaster right now, right?
Oh, I love a little live update.
Yeah. And match 21 is what I can guess. Benfica, we've heard of them over in Portugal, playing Auckland City FC, I believe, from Australia.
No, New Zealand. It would be
New Zealand. Sure, if you say so.
Well, Auckland. It's like
Auckland is in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's not if we say so.
I did just sure.
That's like saying Paris is, in England somewhere.
Yeah.
So did not know that. So section 122, which if you've ever been in the second section of Camping World, you're up there. Like you're up in the seat. This one I think that was actually this one's at Inter and Co Stadium, so not as bad. But $61 out the gate. You want to go anywhere on the other side, same. You're still up there where Ron and I sit, but in one of the later rows, you're going at $94.80 for that game. Just to get in to see Benfica and a team out of New Zealand. Now, if you want to see...
I'll tell you this. If you go to the match, I do like their kits. They're slick looking. This dark blue and black look pretty cool. So
sure. You're going to Camping World on June 24th. Club Leon and Flamingo. You're looking as low as $78 for section 206. Up there, way up there in the bleeds for $78. This one should actually do well because usually the Brazilian and Mexican clubs in this area always kind of sell out their stadiums, but there's still seats available. So if you're looking at that one in Hard Rock, Ron, is that the one that you said?
Yeah. So far, the lowest ticket price I can find is $239.
Yeah, I'm looking at $239.75 right now,
and that's really only to see Messi.
And that's if he even plays.
Right.
I'm sure he'll play in this because he's probably getting paid by someone too. But yeah.
But that's on the upper bowl and section 30. So that's behind the goal, second bowl, the first row. Anything on the side of the stadium, 388, 356. Behind the goal, 239. Yeah, behind the goal on either side are the cheapest. Everything else is ridiculous. Section 120, which is right by the center line, is $574.
I'm looking at Real Madrid and Al Hilal at Hard Rock. right behind the goal there. You're looking at $199.27. That's before your taxes and everything. So let's do this. 2 tickets right now will put me at $402.49. I haven't got to the fees, the taxes, and yada yada. So let's just click next and see what happens. I know this is very, very exciting to listen. Oh, I don't want to sign in. Never mind.
So here's why this is kind of while you're waiting for that to pop up. Here's why this is kind of horrible, right? PSG, who could be the next Champions League winners, versus Atletico Madrid on June 15th in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. The most expensive ticket I can find is $145.
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
That's insane. You're arguing 2 way better teams than Inter Miami playing Al Saudi Arabia.
I don't. This is a bit nutso.
And the only reason they got in is because, the MLS wanted and FIFA wanted Messi to be a part of the tournament, not because Miami actually deserved to be in the tournament. But that's another discussion.
So I got through. So 2 tickets, Real Madrid Al Hilal behind the goal. After fees, which are $48.
FIFA fees.
Yep. And taxes. No, that's just a service fee. And mind you, all sales are final. No refunds. That is printed very clearly here. My hands are away because I don't want to accidentally place an order. But standard admission behind the goal, each ticket comes to $210 for a grand total of $420. You add that $480, $48.30, and that $29.40. I'd be getting into that game to see Real Madrid and Al Hilal for the low cost of $497.70 just to get into the stadium. $500 just to get into the stadium. That's not parking. That's not travel expenses to get down there. You go in the stadium, you buy a beer for $16.
And for a tournament that what is its value? It's so weird. It's so weird. Gentlemen.
Yeah, so I will watch from my couch maybe.
Can I, before we go to wrap up the pod, give an update?
Sure.
To an old topic. Someone pointed this out to me, said, I know it's not soccer, but when you guys were talking about your crappy mascots in sports, I'm really shocked you didn't get to, and I can't believe I didn't know this, because this is NBA. This is New Orleans. This is something we should have. And they sent me this, and I wish I had something like this for Horror Nights when I worked at Universal. Welcome.
Isn't it the Hornet?
Check your text. I just sent you the King Baby. When they don't want to,
Oh, that's definitely creepy.
When they don't want to pull out the pelican, they're like, I can't believe you didn't bring that one up. I was like,
oh, the King Cake Baby.
And it's so new.
That is creepy.
It's so new. And what's funny is when I look it up, there's just tons of NBA players like, F that mascot. Nobody.
Look at it. Look at the eyes on that thing. That is creepy as.
What are you saying about the eyes, right? If they're straight. Were we talking about this on the pod?
I think we were.
No, I don't know if we were. Or maybe it was at work. It might have been at work. Because, Blake, to your point, with HHM, we do a lot of things, right? When you do a mask or you do a head like this, eyes pointing straight makes it look terrifying, right? Like
dude.
It's like looking into your soul, but the eyes remain constantly open. Where a trick that a lot of the main puppeteer companies use, I'm going to throw out there random ones, but Sesame Street, the Muppets, those. Look at a majority of those puppets.
They're
all
just
of those
off. Right?
Eyes are more slanted in.
Well,
to give it more of a realistic human feel and a less creepy, stagnant feel. This went creepy, stagnant.
Whoever they ordered this to do, they were just giggling in their studio going, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this. It
And
is.
it's in the creepy diaper.
It's in the diaper with man legs sticking out of it.
The man legs
The
and
shot
red socks.
that I sent you guys, I will put this on our website. We post this episode of like he's putting his fingers in his mouth. I just can't. Like, I just can't.
Creepy, man.
I can't. Like, I'm like that. I have to do this as a mascot update. This is glorious.
And what's the diaper hung on by?
I don't know, man, but it doesn't make me happy.
Oh man, that is creepy. If you don't know the king cakes during the Mardi Gras season down in New Orleans, if you find the baby beside the cake, it's
hold on.
Good
You
lucker.
find the baby by eating the cake
Correct.
and chewing it and breaking your
your
teeth by
teeth on it.
accident.
Correct. No, you're 100% accurate in that.
But here's the problem, dude.
That's their mascot, by the way.
I would just like to point out
baby
that
you would break your teeth on
the
eating
baby
the cake.
in the king cake is supposed to represent the baby Jesus. That thing is a demon. Whatever that mascot is, that's the Antichrist.
That's the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't remember in the Bible where it said the baby Jesus was in a
Thou shalt eat
pastry.
cake and break your right tooth on.
Was that
A
before
plastic
or
baby.
after the manger? I don't know
Was
the
that
timeline.
New or Old Testament?
That is.
you know what, in the Bible, baby Jesus is born and then they skip 30 years. So maybe this is something that happened in the 30 years skip.
the largest baby ever. This thing is horrifying. Oh my God. Sorry, I had to give that pertinent update.
You got to put that on the web.
Oh,
I put all the pictures of those mascots on it on our website. So you got to put this one on there.
Yeah, I'm throwing this dude on there.
I do, like, we're joking about this, but if you haven't seen him, a lot of the games are doing a moment of silence for the Pope who died this past week. I think all in all, he was a very good Pope.
Ferris, you cannot do that right after I talked about Antichrist baby over here.
No, I did.
Because
I did
I
too.
thought you were setting up a and then I was like, Ferris, this could be in really poor taste. Where are you going with this? I'm like, oh no,
Wait, did we?
just for being legit.
No. Did we pod where we found the? No, we ended the pod last week. We haven't even talked on the pod about what Tony had.
Oh, that's true.
sent
We
us.
referenced it in this pod, but that Tony sent us
Right.
the picture of an AI version of a big Sam Allardyce being the interim pope.
Yeah. His
Oh,
Holiness.
Oh my God.
Also, which you should put on the web.
Yes.
Yes.
That one is great.
I'll get that picture on there. Put it right. He can protect us from this baby. Woo. This
I
thing
mean,
is.
you know how people have the bobble hula girl
Yeah.
in their car? I'm
Bingo.
going to put up a picture of Big Sam as the Pope in my car.
Oh,
Right
his head
next-
to just
Right
bobble
next
up
to the
there.
rosary beads and the little prayer hands that hold your rosary beads.
Oh my God. This is an interesting twist.
In
This
Big Sam
pod
we
took,
trust.
but I love it.
And Big Sam we trust.
So, beers the pod, gentlemen. I had the fresh roasted from Lancaster Brewing.
I had the Mike's Cream Ale from Toll Road Brewing down the street, and I might crack myself a second one here.
I had Lil Heathens Hazy IPA from Flying Monkeys in Barrie, Ontario, Canada.
That's it. That's what that thing's called. Lil Heathen. That's what that
Lil
needs to be
Heathen.
called. Lil Heathen.
Lil Heathen. That is what
Lil.
that character
Lil.
looks
L I
Lil.
apostrophe L.
Lil.
Ferris, do you have a Zlatan quote to wrap us up?
Oh, we make this smooth segue to popes to presidents. As the number 9 quote coming in from MLS soccer.soccer.com that Zlatan said while he was here was, they're lucky I didn't come 10 years ago because I would be president today.
Might not be wrong.
Amazing. Well, as always, find us at thebrewtifulgame.com. Find us on the Untapped, all that jazz, the blue skies and stuff. And leave us a review. Tell your grandma about us and your aunt. We're still trying to up those great aunt quotients of our listeners on the Brewtiful Game.
Heck yeah.
And now it's time to wrap this up. Gentlemen, I'm trying to resurrect an old bit where I kind of had a thing of, we had a dad joke book that we could float through. We didn't know what we were going to hit. So I found a generator that's kind of okay. I'm using until I can get another good dad joke book that we can start flipping through randomly. So here goes. What did the drummer name his twin daughters? Anna 1, Anna 2.
Wow.
Okay, that worked for today. There you go. Love the beer, cherish the game, the Brewtiful Game.
So bad. I understand it. I know. It's just so bad.